In the quiet hours of the night, when the world is still and the only sounds are the soft rustling of the wind and the distant hum of life in the dark, you might find yourself awake, staring at the ceiling, unable to drift back into sleep. For some, this might seem like an inconvenience, a disruption to the peace of night's rest. But for those with the wisdom of years, it is not just a restless moment, but a time of profound significance. There is an ancient understanding that in these moments, especially between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., something deeper is at play. You might not realize it yet, but you are being called. And it is not just a random awakening. It is a gentle nudge from the divine, a reminder that you are one of God's chosen. As the old saying goes, there's no such thing as coincidence in a life led by faith. Those who have walked the path of life long enough understand that everything happens for a reason, even those small, quiet moments in the dead of night. It is said that God speaks to us in different ways, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in our conscience, and sometimes in the pains we endure. These nighttime awakenings might be His way of reaching out to you, to rouse you to something important, something you might not yet fully understand. If you find yourself waking up consistently between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., don't dismiss it as mere insomnia or a sign of aging. The older generation, with their deep reservoirs of wisdom, knows that such times are often significant. The elders teach us that this specific time, often referred to as the fourth watch of the night, is a sacred window, an hour when God visits His chosen ones. This is a time for angelic ministrations, for encounters that have the power to change not just your life, but the lives of those who come after you, your children, your grandchildren, and beyond. The Bible, a book that has guided countless generations, is filled with stories of profound events that occurred during this sacred watch hour. In the book of Genesis, Jacob, who had walked a long and difficult road, wrestled with an angel until daybreak and refused to let go until he was blessed. His persistence and faith in that quiet hour changed his destiny forever. And in the New Testament, it was during the fourth watch that Jesus walked on water to reach His disciples who were struggling against a storm. These are not just stories, but lessons passed down through generations, teaching us the power of the fourth watch. So when you wake during these hours, instead of trying to force yourself back to sleep, consider that it might be a divine invitation. It is said that during these hours, the veil between the physical world and the spiritual realm is thin. The world is quieter, your spirit is more attuned, and God's voice, which is always there, becomes easier to hear. In these moments, you are being called to something greater, something that transcends the mundane worries of daily life. The wisdom of the elders tells us that in such moments we should not let fear or frustration take over. Instead, use this time for prayer, deep and fervent prayer. The old ones knew that the devil, too, is active during these hours, sowing seeds of discord and trouble. But they also knew that prayer is a mighty weapon, one that has been handed down through the generations. They would say, when the night is darkest, that's when you should pray the hardest, because it is in these hours that you can stand guard, not just for yourself, but for those you love, protecting them from harm with your prayers. Elders have always been the watchmen of their families and communities. They understand the responsibility of being awake and aware, especially in the quiet hours when others sleep. The Bible speaks of this responsibility in Ezekiel, where it says that if a watchman sees danger coming and does not sound the alarm, the responsibility for the loss falls on him. This teaching has been passed down, reminding us that in the spiritual realm, as in the physical, we have a duty to watch over others. The devil is often likened to a thief who comes in the night, but those who are wise and vigilant, who keep their spiritual eyes open, are not easily caught off guard. The old folks knew this well. They knew that night was not just a time for rest, but also a time for spiritual warfare. They would rise in the night, sometimes quietly, without waking the others, and pray, prayers that have kept their families safe for generations. There is also great value in remembering your dreams, another piece of wisdom passed down from generation to generation. Dreams, they would say, are God's way of speaking to us when our busy minds are finally quiet. The old ones would wake up, sit on the edge of their beds, and think back on their dreams, asking themselves what God might be trying to say. They knew that dreams could carry messages, warnings, or blessings. And so they would pray over these dreams, seeking clarity and guidance. But prayer is not the only way to spend these sacred hours. The elders also teach us the importance of gratitude. When you wake in the night, take a moment to thank God for the day that has passed and the day that is to come. Thank Him for His guidance, for the lessons He has taught you, and for the strength He has given you. Gratitude is a powerful practice, one that keeps your heart open to God's blessings and your mind focused on His presence in your life. The night, with its quiet and stillness, is also a time for deep reflection and fellowship with God. The wise ones would tell you that in these moments, when the world is silent, God's voice becomes clear. They would sit quietly, perhaps not even speaking, just listening, their hearts and minds open to whatever God wanted to say. This is a time when God can speak to you about the things that matter most, the things that you might overlook during the busy hours of the day. It's a time when He might give you insight into a problem you've been struggling with, or plant a new idea in your mind that could change the course of your life. The wisdom of the ages also teaches us the importance of writing things down. The old folks would keep journals, not just for their thoughts, but for the messages they believed came from God. They understood that our minds can be forgetful, that life can distract us, and that important insights can slip away if we're not careful. By writing things down, they preserved these moments of divine connection, creating a record that could be revisited in times of doubt or confusion. There's an old saying that the pen is mightier than the sword, and those who have lived long lives know that this is true not just in the world of men, but in the world of spirit as well. By documenting your thoughts, dreams, and prayers, you create a powerful tool, one that can help you stay aligned with God's will for your life. And let us not forget the power of the spoken word. The old ones knew that words carry power, the power to bless and the power to curse, the power to build up and the power to tear down. They would tell you to speak life into your day, to use the quiet hours of the night to declare blessings over your life and the lives of your loved ones. They believed that the words you speak in faith can shape the reality you live in. This is a truth that has been passed down through the generations, a truth that has the power to change your life if you embrace it. The Bible, that ancient source of wisdom, is filled with stories of people who used their words to bring about miraculous changes. Joshua, in the heat of battle, commanded the sun and moon to stand still, and they obeyed, giving him and his people the time they needed to win their fight. Elijah, a prophet whose story has been told and retold through the ages, spoke, and the heavens closed, bringing a drought that lasted for 3.5 years. These stories are not just tales of the past, but lessons for the present, reminders of the power that lies in the words we speak. So, when you find yourself awake in the night, use your words wisely. Speak to your day before it begins. Declare victory over the challenges you will face. Speak peace over your family and prosperity over your work. In the stillness of the night, your words carry even greater power, for they are spoken in faith, in the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are a child of God. But as the elders would remind you, with great power comes great responsibility. The ability to speak life means also that you must guard your tongue, choosing your words carefully, ensuring that they align with God's will and purpose for your life. This is not a task to be taken lightly. It requires discipline, focus, and above all, a deep and abiding relationship with God. To sustain this relationship, the wisdom of the old ones teaches us that we must live lives that honor God. Sin, they would tell you, weakens your spirit, making it harder to hear God's voice and to understand His will. The older generation knew the importance of living a life that was in tune with the Spirit, a life that was guided by prayer, by the reading of the Word, and by a conscious effort to avoid those things that would pull them away from God. One of the ways they would strengthen their spirits was by praying in the Holy Ghost, a practice that has been passed down through the ages. This type of prayer, they believed, activated their spirits, making them more sensitive to God's voice and more attuned to His will. It was a way of keeping their spiritual eyes and ears open, of staying ready to respond whenever God called. Music, too, was a tool they used to keep their spirits aligned with God. The old ones would play worship songs throughout the day, creating an atmosphere of praise and worship that permeated their lives. They understood the power of music to lift the spirit, to calm the mind, and to bring them closer to God. Whether in the car, at home, or going about their daily tasks, they would surround themselves with songs that reminded them of God's presence and His love. And finally, they would encourage you to set goals, not just for the day, but for your spiritual life as well. The wisdom of the ages teaches us that you are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. This is especially true when those goals and dreams are aligned with God's purpose for your life. The older generation would tell you to use the quiet hours of the night to think about what you want to achieve, not just in the physical world, but in your walk with God. They would encourage you to seek God's guidance, to ask Him to show you the path He wants you to take, and to trust that He will lead you where you need to go. So the next time you find yourself awake in the middle of the night, remember the wisdom of the elders. Don't just roll over and try to go back to sleep. Instead, embrace the moment. Pray, reflect, listen, and speak. Use this time to connect with God, to seek His guidance, and to align yourself with His will. And most importantly, remember that you are not alone. You are part of a long line of believers, stretching back through the generations, who have heard God's call in the night and responded with faith, courage, and wisdom. As you do, you will find that these moments of wakefulness are not interruptions, but invitations, opportunities to deepen your relationship with God, to strengthen your spirit, and to prepare yourself for the day ahead. You will discover that in these quiet hours, you are not just passing the time. You are stepping into a sacred space where the divine touches the human, where heaven meets earth, and where God speaks to those who are willing to listen.